Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really excited to introduce John McDonough, who is our partner in doing this webinar and subject matter expert. John, I'll pass the mic over to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for taking the time. Golden handcuffs, retaining and rewarding key talent. Let me ask you something right out of the gate before we get started. Who here attending this webinar has one person on their team they absolutely cannot afford to lose? Not your average employee. I'm talking about the person who holds relationships, operational knowledge, client trust, which is the real leverage in your business. Because today we're not talking about perks, we're talking about retention as a balance sheet risk. So, for those who I haven't met yet, I work with successful business owners and closely held companies, typically 8 and 9 figure estates. And my focus is advanced life insurance and tax mitigation design, not products, not commissions, architecture. Last time, we talked about securing succession and buy-sell agreements. Today, we're addressing the problem that quietly kills succession plans before they ever launch. You lose the people who are supposed to help get you there. And why this matters now, here's the reality most business owners don't want to admit. Compensation inflation doesn't create loyalty. And your best people aren't leaving for more money. They leave for a better story, a clearer future, and a long-term wealth creation strategy for themselves. Replacing a number two today isn't inconvenient, it's completely destabilizing. And poaching isn't the real threat here. Burnout is. Lack of perceived upside is. Succession uncertainty is. And the quiet realization that they can build long-term wealth somewhere else. Most departures aren't emotional. They're strategically planned quietly over time. And recruiting costs are the smallest line item. What really hurts is client disruption, lost institutional knowledge, intellectual property, delayed growth, and cultural shockwaves. That's when valuation takes a substantial hit. So let's reframe this. Retention is not a bonus, it's a design problem. Bonuses are short term dopamine hits. Equity dilutes and complicates. Golden handcuffs, when done right, align time horizons. Great plans don't trap people, they make staying the smart decision. And today we'll cover two different tools: executive bonus plans, otherwise known as 162 plans, and the endorsement split dollar. Both use life insurance, not as life insurance though, but as long-term retention chassis. So executive bonus plans 162, and this is often the cleanest entry point. The company bonuses the executive owns the policy, the business may get a deduction, and the executive recognizes income, often offset with the double bonus strategy. It's simple, flexible, and very powerful. And here's where most advisors mess this up. The policy does not create the actual retention. The terms do. Restricted endorsements, vesting schedules, repayment provisions, performance milestones. That's how you create handcuffs without being heavy handed. And then we've got the endorsement split dollar. Split dollar is different. Here, the business owns the actual policy. The executive receives a defined benefit and the company keeps control. This isn't compensation, this is architecture. Owners really like this because it provides maximum control, maximum retention leverage, no equity dilution. And this is ideal when the executive is succession critical It's the kind of person that you cannot replace. Here's what you control: vesting timelines, exit mechanics, recovery provisions, and collateral rights. And yes, this is where legal and tax coordination actually matters. So here's the map. Use executive bonus when you want simplicity and flexibility. Use split dollar when you need retention gravity. Different tools, different goals. And most plans are funded by cash flow. Others tend to re-engineer inefficient compensation. Occasionally, we use financing, but selectively. And we're not adding cost, we're reallocating capital more intelligently. And so here's the 4 questions every business owner should ask. 1, who are we trying to retain and why? 2, what behavior are we actually rewarding? 3, what happens if they leave early? And 4, who's going to be on this implementation team? Attorney, CPA, trusted advisor. This is not a solo project and never a solo act. So here's a case study. We've got an owner-led firm. Key executive is running relationships and operations, and competitive offers are starting to come in for this individual, for this key executive. So the solution is an endorsement split dollar arrangement with a 10-year vesting schedule, a defined benefit with very clear and defined exit provisions. And the result, the executive stays, the owner keeps control, and retention becomes absolutely predictable. So here's the takeaway. Retention is a design problem, not a pay problem. If you don't have a plan for the people who drive revenue, relationships, and operations, this has to be your next move. So let's design something that keeps your best people on your team. And here's some questions for you to think about. Who on your team is the person you cannot lose? And what happens to your revenue if they walk out the door? And would equity, having them participate in equity, be the wrong answer for you? And do you have a plan, a retention plan that survives a competitive offer? Chew on those questions, reach out to us, let's have a conversation, and let's get this started for you. Thanks for your attention today.